Did you see the new All-Star, or sorry, the new World Cup, like 2030 or whatever was announced?
No.
Saudi Arabia.
What? They're going back to the Middle East again already?
Yeah. With that kind of cash, yeah. I think they said already there's going to be no... So it's 2034.
2034, okay.
Yeah. And I did hear that they're just not going to have alcohol there at all. Which, should not be shocking, but...
Right. That's how it was in Qatar, right?
I think so. But, yes, but then they had these, the ultra, for, the celebrities and stuff. They had these, the boxes where you could see there were, pictures of them drinking champagne and stuff. So,
really? Interesting.
So, yeah, if you're, a regular person paying, I don't know, hundreds or thousands of dollars for a ticket, no, you can't drink. Also, if you had things that either were or could be mistaken for pride stuff, that also was not allowed.
Right.
But
sweet.
What you gonna do?
Are you gonna try to get?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
Tickets for.
Yeah, we should. We should get tickets. I've never been to a World Cup match. That'd be pretty sweet.
That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, I didn't go when I was a kid or a young man. I did not go then.
Me neither.
But
yeah, how does it work? It's like you just you enter a lottery and get tickets, and then you exchange them somehow if you want.
No idea.
Okay.
I feel like whatever it is, Ticketmaster gets a cut every time anything happens, so they don't care. And there's probably, I'd be happy to see any, I guess I've got preferences, but I also would be happy to see, specific teams too. So yeah, so that's 2026, Canada, Mexico, the US. 2030, they're doing a Morocco, Portugal, Spain across 2 continents. And 2034 will be Saudi Arabia. So, yeah. 2026 and 2030 sound more interesting to me. I don't know. Not been to the Middle East, but got a long list of places that I haven't been to.
Well, I registered my interest in the tickets for the World Cup, so they'll send me emails in the future.
Do you think that there's a backdoor for NBA podcasters to?
Well, really, this is why we need to get our media credentials,
Yeah. We should do that.
Yeah, so just prepare to...
It'll be great.
It'll be perfect.
Yeah, so just prepare to... Y'all motherfuckers don't watch us play throughout the year, to tell you the truth. I'm gonna be real with you, and I don't care if I get fined.
That train is off the track.
I feel like you can't just jump through Neptune and be okay.
Just prepare to...
What the show needs is more dogs and bears and chickens and stuff.
Yeah, so just prepare to be awash in unbelievable goodness.
Welcome, Pacers fans. You are listening to the Undebeatables, your semi-weekly Pacers podcast. Today is Sunday, December 22nd, 2024, and this is episode 737. Coming to you from Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm your host, Joey Gaffrida, the man behind the dials. This show, again, we're going to discuss a 2-0 week of Pacers basketball with games against Phoenix and Sacramento. Joining me this week, the only one who made the cut, still coast to coast like buttered toast. From the high school home of Jameson Brewer, Silver Spring, Maryland, it's the doctor, Jason Triplett.
What is up, Pacers fans? What is up, Undebeatable? Good to see you. Shout out to the other guys. Shout out to my sister-in-law, who's celebrating a birthday when this podcast comes out.
Shout out. And I'll shout out to my mama tonight, as we record, the 22nd. Today's her birthday.
Shout out.
Shout out, Mom, who always gets the, near Christmas birthday treatment where you get stuff kind of tacked on or
sure,
just smushed together. It comes with the territory, I guess. Well, before we get into the show, we'd like to remind listeners that they can support us, the longest running Pacers podcast, by heading over to patreon.com/Undebeatables, and you can support our show for as little as $1 per month. Well, as it's a holiday week, we are just going to have one show unless we get some extra time and magic with Coulson being in town. But we've got 2 games that we want to talk about, and a couple other topics to discuss. So again, we had a very light week of action. Just 2 games, but 2 wins for the Pacers this week. First game, Pacers heading to Phoenix. And on the way out there, T.J. McConnell joined the Arizona State Ring of Honor, and the whole team got to be there.
Slight correction, not Arizona State. University of Arizona.
University of Arizona. From the Midwest, they're the same to me, but we always get those Arizona guys. That's right, not Arizona State. Arizona. He gets into their Hall of Fame, and the team's out there to celebrate with him. So that's very cool. Then, December 19th, Thursday, Pacers get out to Phoenix, and they win on the road, 120-111, beating the Phoenix Suns with, I think, a pretty, I don't know, I think Coulson called this the win of the year. I think Pascal Siakam had an amazing game, 25 and 18 rebounds.
18 rebounds.
From Siakam, 13 and 12 from Tyrese Halliburton. Pretty balanced game for him. And I mean, Kevin Durant did decide to put it on us, 37 and 10 for him. But really, most of the other players held in check. Bradley Beal, Yusuf Nurkic, Devin Booker in double figures, but not much beyond this one. And the other game of the week just finished up before we started recording. Pacers get into Sacramento, and they see some familiar faces. But this is Sunday, December 22nd. They got to see Domantas Sabonis, and Halliburton got to see his old squad. And they put it on them, 122-95. It's like tied at halftime. And Pacers came out and just put it down in the second half. Scoring 35 in the third and fourth quarters. Playing well defensively. And, a nice blowout win at the end of the day. 4 guys in double figures, just on the starters. And then Ben Shepherd, Obi Toppin, and T.J. McConnell breaking double digits off the bench. T.J. McConnell almost had a triple-double. 12 points, 10 assists, 7 rebounds for the big guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's a big guy, right?
Yeah.
He plays a big guy when he needs to. So, Jason, we're 2-0. We're on I think they call it a winning streak.
They do. I've heard of these things before.
This is like enjoyable, good basketball. What's what's going on here? If they play 2 games a week, I think this team could go could do things, you know?
I agree. I think a lot of teams would feel that way too. Just well rested and no back-to-backs and
Yep.
feeling great. Yeah, no, I think you guys covered it well last week. I think a lot of the trends that you discussed continued. I mean, they're playing with a lot more force, a lot more energy. The defensive effort is amazing. So, held Sacramento, who scores a lot of points, to 95 points today. And this game was particularly impressive, too, because they got off to a slow start. I think they shot 32% or something like that in the first quarter. And then just blew the doors off of them in the second half. And that Phoenix win, yeah, Colton might be right. I'm looking through the schedule. That might be the win of the year in terms of road win against a winning ball club. The caveat is that they were missing Devin Booker for most of the second half, which is why Kevin Durant had so many freaking points, because he was kind of their only offensive option there. But regardless, I mean, I think the guys came ready for the challenge and, worked hard. It was a back and forth game in the first half, and they, took some punches and kept coming back. Siakam was just incredible the entire game. And then highlight of the game for me was a garbage time play in the Sacramento, or I guess highlight of the week in the Sacramento game. Did you see this? Did Jarris Walker play?
No, I didn't get to check that
Oh,
one.
it was dope. It will be in the NBA top 10, I believe. He makes his way into the lane, kind of gets stuck, so he decides to throw the ball off the backboard, and then it comes back and he catches it and he does a touch pass straight to the corner to an open Thomas Bryant, who knocks down a three-pointer.
Ooh.
And the bench proceeded to lose their minds, which was right behind them. So
Yeah,
interesting.
no.
Yeah.
I dig that. No, they had gotten a big lead, and I had a 3-year-old who was getting wild, so
Yeah.
I had to step out. But yeah, no, I'll definitely check that out. We had a good solid lead, so we're able to use the depth that we still sort of have
Yeah, absolutely.
at some positions.
Yeah, this is really our first big sort of blowout win of the year, I would say, right? Like, I don't think we've had one
Not
bigger
many.
than this for sure.
Yeah.
And only a few where we've got to sort of dribble the clock out. Another hilarious moment. James Johnson, we get a human cigar moment. James Johnson gets in the game. He's kind of playing point guard, and he's going to dribble the clock out, but he steps backwards. He's like dribbling, steps backwards, and has a backcourt violation. Like, just
Yeah.
walks over the line. That was pretty hilarious. The bench loved that one as well. But yeah, good week of basketball. Guys are shooting. They're looking loose. They're getting up and down the floor, passing the ball. This is now the team had how many assists today? 30, at least 32. Last I checked, it was probably more than that. Let me see. 36 assists today, which makes them now 11-2 in games in which they have at least 30 assists. So yeah, back to playing Pacers basketball.
Yeah, I tell you what, I was looking at the season, looking for biggest blowout win, and all the games early in the year were pretty close, the ones that they had won, and now we're starting to get a little separation. Recently the New Orleans game was a 15-point win. There was a 14-point win against Philly, and yeah, so these are all coming recently. We've won 4 in a row, 5 out of the last 6, and looking good on the road. Sometime we've had some good road wins, which has been nice this season. We've been playing well at home, but the road has been terrible for us.
Yeah, for sure.
And I know the Sacramento team, I think that, well, Halliburton and you would think Sabonis as well are going to be a little extra amped up for that, but we took it to them on their floor.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they were on the second night of back-to-back, but that hasn't prevented the Pacers from giving paltry efforts before this season. So it's good to see that they're doing that. The other thing that we're seeing a lot more of is not just getting up and down the floor more, but I think a lot more like spurtability, if you will. So we're going on these like sort of huge runs. I think in both the Phoenix game and the Sacramento game went on like 9-0, 10-0, 14-0 runs or something like that, which we saw a lot of last year, where we can just score in bunches in like a couple minutes, and it just kind of like changes the picture and momentum of the game, I guess. Another huge help is getting Andrew Nembhard and Ben Shepherd back, who struggled a bit this week defensively, or at least in that Phoenix game defensively. He had a tough task. He had to guard Devin Booker for part of it, and Devin Booker was definitely eating his lunch and drawing a bunch of fouls, but bounced back today with a great game. 5 of 5 from the field, 4 of 4 from 3-point range. Hit a huge 3 at the end of the third quarter. Sacramento was kind of creeping back into it, had cut it to 6, and then he hits a 3 to sort of end the quarter, extend it to 9, which made a big difference.
It was nice that after halftime, the Pacers came out at the beginning of the third and just they came hard, and they forced Sacramento to call a timeout within a couple minutes because they were scoring, and Nembhard was a big part of that. He had a really sweet finish. He goes into the lane with 3 defenders on him, and he pulls like kind of a slow-mo layup, but everybody mistimed it, and got a big smile on his face, and forced a timeout. And I think that's where a place where I've seen this team struggle is coming out of the break and then just getting slapped in the face, and there's just no recourse. There hadn't been any.
Right.
And being a team that sets the pace and is assertive and forces the other team to respond is generally they're gonna win. So getting that back is it's a very good sign in my eyes. Yeah.
The other thing that I've noticed is, so we're now on a 4-game win streak, and I think it's all of these games. So my understanding is that the opposing team gets to choose which bench position they want to have, right? Like if they want the bench to be in front of the defense in the first half or the offense in the first half, kind of thing. And then the home team adjusts. And Carlisle, for his entire career, as far as I can remember, has chosen to have the defense in front of him the second half of a game so that he can call out things and, be much more defensive minded. In these 2 games against Phoenix and Sacramento, the bench was on the offensive side in the second half. And I don't know if that's a conscious choice or if that's, obviously it's a conscious choice, but I don't know if that's contributing to this change in play. I don't know what the trend was earlier in the season, but it definitely seems like the guys are coming out with a lot more defensive energy in these first halves, and maybe that's part of it, is the bench is right there and they're calling those things out, and that sort of momentum is able to carry over until the second half. Something worth looking at. I'll have to go back and sort of dig into the film or something like that and see, or maybe a listener can shoot us an email and let us know if I'm right or not in this sudden change, because I noticed it was that way in the Philly game as well. In the Philly game.
That kind of thing doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but yeah, you do notice those things during the games. That'd be something interesting to see which specific games we've had the change in and how we've responded to that.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll have to keep our eyes open going forward.
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing is, we played whatever it is, 4 games in a 9-day stretch or something like that, which is just nice to get rest and be able to work on things in practice and whatnot. So
yeah, that's a good time. Yeah, to heal some of those nagging, strains and injuries that aren't maybe necessarily keeping you out of the lineup, but it's nice. It's a nice time to recuperate a little bit.
Sure. Well,
so good. Yeah, team's looking good. I'm cautiously optimistic.
Well, yeah, and absolutely, you couldn't ask for a better start to this. This Phoenix and Sacramento games represented the beginning of this ridiculous 9-game stretch that we're going to have between now and January 4th. So the games are going to come hot and heavy over the next 2 weeks. So we have 4 games this week, starting Monday, second night of a back-to-back at Golden State. A couple days off and come home to face the Oklahoma City Thunder, who lost in the NBA Cup final and have been just demolishing teams since then. So that's Thursday, and then Friday go at Boston, and then Sunday at Boston. So that's the week we're looking at there.
Sweet. Yeah, so Oklahoma City has lost 5 games, and Boston has lost 6 for the season. So we've got our work cut out for us. And Golden State at home is going to be no slouch regardless. So
yep.
It's good that we got the wins while we did. I think these are the times during the schedule pod that I don't know. Maybe not the Phoenix one, but I think the other ones were saying, "Hey, we got to get these wins because we're going to be in a really tough stretch here."
Mm-hmm.
And coming up after that, we've got some decent teams. So,
you're going to make a prediction for this week?
So 4 games, Golden State. I'll say we go 2-2. I think we can pull. I think we can beat Golden State. I think we're on a good streak now. I know it's a back-to-back, but I think that they've got some making up to do for some performances earlier in the season on back-to-backs, and they're gonna shock the Warriors, and they'll pull one of the games against Boston.
Okay, I like that. I'm less optimistic. I think we'll be 1-3 just because, this is the class of the class. Like, Boston and OKC are, like, probably the favorites to be in the finals,
Yeah.
So, yeah. I would like to see us, regardless of record this week, continue to play the type of basketball that we've been playing, right? So if we can play this style of basketball on a consistent basis, we're going to win a lot more games than we lose, I think, over the long haul. And so the important thing is for the team to sort of stick to the plan, even if there's losses, to keep playing the way that they're playing, because the way they've been playing lately is just completely different than the team we saw, in that Charlotte game and before,
right?
Basically.
Right. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Colson texted me, by the way, about his prediction for the week, and he said that this losing train doesn't have any stops for the foreseeable future, and he said it's a 4-0 sweep 'em out week, and he was like pretty specific about language that was going to be used against the Boston fans after we won 2 in a row there.
Right.
I can't repeat it obviously on this, but it was graphic and specific. What about, did Harper hit you up with his prediction?
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, he's always a pessimist, and so he said 0-4, but he said he would say that regardless of the competition. I think so.
That's true.
Just a standard reverse jinx maneuver.
If you admit that it's a reverse jinx, does that change things?
Nope.
Okay. All right. I wasn't sure how all the rules work of that.
I mean, I'll have to consult the jinx bylaws, but
Okay.
as far as I know,
All right. That makes sense. I mean, that makes sense.
yeah. We did. So we are playing this Golden State team. Golden State is going to be slightly different look than folks are used to. They made a trade. I think it was executed last Sunday. So you guys, I don't think did you talk about it on the Thursday show or no?
No, we didn't.
So Golden State trades DeAnthony Melton and some draft picks for Dennis Schroeder. And I think there was a draft pick coming back as well. They trade DeAnthony Melton, Reese Beekman, a two-way guard, 3 second-round picks for Schroeder, and I think they get 1 second-round pick coming back. So net 2 second-round picks. And how do you think that this Schroeder move? How does that help the Warriors out?
Well, so DeAnthony Melton had been injured, so that, you get a healthy Schroeder back. For right now, this is hey, we want to win today. And I think Schroeder, I think the question for me is Schroeder, who I think has had difficulties really meshing with offenses.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of doing his own thing. I think that the question is how is he going to play with Golden State, who's clearly, they have great leadership and good veterans with lots of winning under their belt. Is he going to be able to change his game to be effective on this Golden State team instead of, going against the grain and not being terribly effective? So I think if he's able to do what what Kerr is asking and what the team needs, I think that's going to be a big win for them.
Yeah, we'll see. They've been on a bit of a slide lately. I mean, they're 15-12 overall, but 3-7 in their last 10. So yeah, I mean, I think I think that it gives them another ball handler to take a little bit of pressure off of Steph. He's not a spring chicken anymore. So anytime you can lighten his load a little bit and let him focus on just being the babyface assassin that he is, the better things are going to be. So yeah, I think overall it's probably a good move. Although there is rumors that they might try to flip him for something else. Or yeah, he is still trade eligible, I should say, even though it's this late in the year. He could still be traded before the deadline in early February, I think it is.
So this season he is making 2.5 3-pointers per game and 39% from 3-point land. So both of these are career best for him. And I mean, as we know, 3-point shooting is always in demand. So
yeah,
it's a nice little bonus to have on.
Well, and as far as setting aside his ego to sacrifice for the team, I think that's a really easy thing to do in an environment like Golden State, where they can just show you the rings on their fingers and say, we do things this way here, and this is the result. So
yeah, no, I think they, there's not a whole lot of teams that get to do that, and they are certainly one of them. I think there's a couple other ones, Boston, San Antonio, and the list is rapidly shrinking after that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Miami, but the
Washington Wizards,
they say this is how we do things, and they just make a gesture up to the empty stands and say. but I think that they are one of the teams that get that. You would think that the players are on the same page. It's like, okay, yes, clearly you're successful, and you guys know what you're doing, and I want to help. You get to be a part of that, and it also makes your job so much easier as a player. Like Schroeder, I think, was in positions before where he kind of had to do more than he was really capable of, but that was what they asked him to do because there was nobody else to do it. Mm-hmm. He's not in that situation here. You have a lot of talent around him, so he doesn't have to carry the burden.
That's right. And if he doesn't, get with the program, Draymond Green will sucker punch him. So
on video and with basically no repercussions.
Yeah, exactly. And then talk about it on his podcast.
So look at that face. It's very punchable. Other thing that I think that we wanted to discuss this week is the NBA All-Star Game and All-Star voting the All-Star voting is open. All-Star Game is February 14th through 16th. It's going to be in the Bay in the Golden State the new arena they have out there. And I think there's been some so from the Pacers side, they're pushing to get some Pacers out there. Who, I guess, before we get into more of this, what Pacers do you think have a shot at getting into the All-Star game? We got Halliburton for sure. What do you got? Your Siakam, I think, can make a case. You just did 25 and 18, Siakam. Where do we go after that?
I mean, I think that's where the list ends at this point. Mm-hmm. And really, I don't think... I mean, Siakam maybe would get some consideration. I mean, the East is not very robust this year, perhaps. And so there's room... I think there's going to be a lot of representation from the Celtics, the Cavs, and the Knicks in the All-Star game. Giannis will be in there, who knows if Embiid will make an appearance or not, but I don't know that since the Pacers got off to one of the rockier starts, I think league consensus wise we're like one of the most disappointing teams maybe of the early, the first third of the season, and so that weighs heavily into certainly voters' minds, I think. But I don't know. I mean, the coaches choose the reserves, and so maybe they have a particular respect for Halliburton and or Siakam. They're certainly at the top of the scouting report, I would say. So
yeah.
But I wouldn't say either one has had an all-star campaign yet this year.
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree with that. I know the Pacers were also pushing for Turner and Mathurin, but I think that's a reach at this point. They've had good seasons, but they're not all-star caliber right now.
No, agreed.
I would say that Siakam's had the best season for us, but Halliburton's clearly the biggest name and has I'd probably say a better, higher ceiling. But
yeah, and I mean nobody's numbers are jumping off your page. I mean Siakam, I agree, has been our most consistent guy, but he's still. I mean he's at 20 and 7 rebounds. Like,
yeah,
it's nothing that pops off the page,
Right. So, the voting that we're talking about is for a newly formatted NBA All-Star Weekend. And the first thing I heard about this was the players complaining about it, and I couldn't even tell you at the time when I first started it. That's all I heard was just the players are saying this is stupid. This is ridiculous. But after looking into it, and Jason kind of gave me the rundown, but on I think maybe as a little reminder on the NBA.com website, it says the NBA and the NBA Players Association announced new formats. So the NBA PA, they're in on this. They signed off on this. Jason, can you tell me what the NBA Players Association signed off on?
Yeah, so this is a reimagined event, as it says in the presser. So, just like before, fans will vote for All-Stars. So I don't know if the starters will be selected that way. Anyway, and then 7 players will be honored as reserves, 12 from each conference, so 24 total. And so in the past, what we've had is, honorary captains that then draft 2 teams based on that, and then they play the typical format. They played around with it a little bit. They had the Elam ending that one year. But this year, what they'll do is they'll break those 24 All-Stars into 3 teams. There will be Team Charles Barkley, Team Shaq, and Team Kenny will draft their teams amongst that pool of 24 players. And so those 3 teams, and then a 4th team, which will be the winning team from the championship game of the Rising Stars showcase, will enter into a tournament where 2 of those teams will play one another. The other 2 will play one another, and the winner of each of those 2 teams will advance to the championship. And the kicker here is that there's no clock. They instead play to a target score of 40. So first team to 40 wins.
That's interesting. It is quite different. I think this has been, as we discussed earlier, the way that the Rising Stars have been doing this for a couple years, right? Mm-hmm. But now the format sort of has expanded, and the winner of the Rising Stars gets to play against the proper All Stars. And there's even a scenario where there could be a team of G League players, the G League All Stars, get into the NBA, or I guess, I don't know, what do they call this? Just the NBA All Star tournament game.
I don't know what they call it.
They
reimagined it, so they need to reimagine a name. I guess it's still called the All-Star game, single game. But no, you're right, because one of the teams in the Rising Stars challenge is comprised of G League players completely. I think it's G League All-Stars. So yeah, so you can imagine that they win, and then the winner of that becomes known as Team Candace, for Candace Parker. And then you can imagine Team Candace advancing and winning the whole thing, taking home the NBA All-Star Game title from all of the NBA players.
I love it. Well, it's interesting.
It is interesting.
They did something different.
I mean, yeah, the reason they keep mixing it up is because nobody plays defense or really cares about these games, and so nobody watches them. But I mean, it's an exhibition. It's for the fans. Maybe they'll play a little bit more defense now. You think? I don't know.
Well, I'd say selectively, but it's been, it's not fun basketball to watch, in my opinion. I don't particularly enjoy the All-Star game. It's like not really basketball. It is an exhibition, and I get that these guys don't want to get hurt, and there's nothing on the line, really. I wouldn't want to see I don't want to see anybody get hurt, particularly my own stars. But that also kind of puts it in the position to where it's like not super fun basketball to watch. So yeah, I mean the skills challenges and the 3-point contest, like that's one thing, and that's just entertainment, and people are trying on those. But you get to the All-Star game, and it's just you just let the guy go by, and there's been a little bit of change, but I think there's been like some embarrassment from league officials about how bad the games have been, and they want to try something new. They want to make it exciting for the fans and do whatever you can do to motivate the players to play more interesting basketball, because whatever they're doing, not working these days. So I say throw something at the wall and see what works. And if they've been happy with the way that the Rising Stars has gone the last couple of years, then I think that the league has been very good over the last several years of using other leagues, in their purview to test things out. So G League and
like replay type
particularly
stuff and
so they're not coming in
restrictions.
They're not coming in with just with no data. They're making informed decisions from other leagues. So, but we'll see. Hopefully, it's more interesting, and maybe the players will say, "Hey, that was fun." It is, it's maybe when you have a eight player team, then maybe the guys at the end of the bench, they'll get a little bit of burn, and you get to see a little bit more spotlight on everybody, just as it sort of split up a little bit.
That's a good point. Another option they could have done, I guess, is split it into 4 teams of 6, and then that way everybody would have definitely gotten to play a bit more.
Right. Yeah,
but this is kind of fun too, I think.
Yeah.
And then that way you got room for your Jimmy Butlers who just don't play. So you can still have them.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see what works. I think we'll know when we see it. If we feel like it's any sort of improvement, because I can say what they've been doing is not working. So trying at least something that they have tried before is a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm excited for once. Is everything else, I don't know if you saw it, is everything else kind of normal at the 3-point and I see the celebrity game. Sorry, all right, let's take that back. The Ruffles NBA All-Star Celebrity Game is Friday night, February 14th. It's going to be Valentine's Day.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Castrol Rising Stars Friday night.
Well, yeah, I wasn't using the proper sponsorship titles.
Yep. Yeah, and the rest of this here is there's an all-star practice at 2 o'clock on Saturday. HBCU Classic at 5 o'clock. Morehouse College versus Tuskegee University. And, the normal State Farm All-Star Saturday night. Saturday at 8 o'clock. And then the all-star game 8 p.m. 8 p.m. Eastern. So I was a little concerned that was Pacific time, but it is Eastern time. So, because getting me to tune in at 11 p.m. to watch nobody play defense is just not going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
But 8 o'clock is much more reasonable. Oh, some new information came across the wire. Alex Caruso just signed a 4-year, $81 million extension with OKC.
Good for him.
Deal.
Good job, Alex.
Yeah. Would you sign Caruso to a 4-year, $81 million deal?
It's a good question. I don't know. Maybe.
With this inflation, it seems pretty reasonable.
Yep. I agree. For what contracts are going to be 2 years from now, think that's going
I
to
mean,
seem
maybe,
totally
yeah.
reasonable.
As the economy gets destroyed and we warm ourselves with cash because it's worthless.
We're all on Bitcoin, Doge, whatever the currency of the U.S. is going to be.
Oh, I got to go buy some Doge. I forgot. All right. Jason, anything else you need to get off your chest while we're still here?
No, I got nothing. Keep it rolling, Pacers. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Keep it rolling. Keep the vibes are good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep playing defense.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. Just to keep those things that we were like laughably bad at. Let's just be like subpar at those things, and we can put together a bunch of wins. I think because we do have the capacity for a really high-powered offense, which we know, but we can't pair that with a no power defense, no power rebounding. It's a give and take. So, all right. Well, happy holidays to everyone. Whatever you celebrate, whatever you don't celebrate, then if you don't celebrate anything, then then no celebrations for you from us. I don't want to impose anything on anyone at any point in time, unless you deserve it. But everyone who celebrates happy Christmas, Merry Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. What else we got? New Year, Mama's birthday. All the holidays. Have good ones. Be safe out there. And until next time, you can hit us up on social media. We are at Undebeatables on Twitter. We're on Facebook.com/The Undebeatables. Our website, theundebeatables.com. There's a contact form there. You can use that to send us a message. Email, shout out at theundebeatables.com. Our website /store. And for patrons, you can hit us up on Slack.
Wait,
I'm going to sing us out of here.
Did you say T-shirt at some point?
I don't know.
I was listening.
I
to
said a lot
T-shirt.
of things.
Okay.
I said a lot of things.
Sure, I can sing us out. Let's see. For the architect, Donnie Walsh, and our once and always Hall of Fame head coach, Bobby Slick Leonard, turn out the lights, the party's over. Turn out the lights, the party's over.
It was very chipper. I like that.
I was trying to make it like a Christmas Carol, but then I couldn't think of any Christmas carols. So, yeah. Kwanzaa starts on December 26th. It's always December 26th to January 1st.
Okay.
Very, very good.